Hey everyone, and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. So, as you've probably guessed from the title, this is going to be an ARC reading vlog. So I have a few ARCs through NetGalley that I really want to read soon so I can review these books. And I thought, why don't I read them in a vlog and then we can talk about it, and yeah, that's the plan for this reading vlog. I don't know why I'm struggling today to get my words out, but I've tried to start this vlog several times and it's just not working, so we're gonna just roll with it. But yeah, I'm gonna be reading 3 thrillers in this vlog, and all of them are quite highly anticipated for me because I have read books by all of these authors before and enjoyed them. So I'm hoping for a 5-star in this vlog. I'm really hoping that I'm gonna love all of these books. The first book that I have already started is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. So I've had mixed experiences with Riley Sager books in the past because I really enjoyed Home Before Dark and Lock Every Door, and then I liked Survive the Night. I know that a lot of people hated it. I thought it was fun. And then I also liked The Last Time I Lied, but I hated Final Girls when I read it earlier this year. So I'm hoping to have more luck with The House Across the Lake. The second book that I'm planning to pick up is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. So I have read 2 Ruth Ware books. I loved The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I would still say that that's probably one of my all-time favourite thrillers. And then I also read One by One, was it last year? And I really enjoyed that too. So I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy The It Girl. I think of the 3 books that I'm going to be reading in this vlog, this is the one that I have the highest hopes for. The final book that I'm going to be picking up is Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. So Catherine Ryan Howard wrote 56 Days and The Nothing Man, which I enjoyed. I think I gave both of those books 4 stars, so I'm hoping that I'm finally going to get 5 stars from this author. The plot sounds really interesting for this one as well. So those are the 3 books that I am going to be reading in this reading vlog. I will update you again once I'm maybe about a third of the way through House Across the Lake. Don't know if I mentioned, but I have started this one already, and at the moment I'm not really loving it, but it might just be that it's a slow beginning, so hopefully I will enjoy it the further that I get in, because at the moment it's just kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. So I am 30% of the way through The House Across the Lake, and this is just okay so far. I think the main problem that I'm having is that the plot is only vaguely intriguing, but I don't like the main character. And I think that that's a problem with thrillers, is that if the plot for a thriller is really exciting, then I can get past not liking the characters. But if the characters are annoying and there's nothing really in the plot that's keeping my attention, then I just end up feeling a little bit bored. So in this book we're following our main character Casey, who's an actress, and around a year ago, or just over a year ago, her husband passed away, and he actually drowned in the lake that's next to her family's vacation home. Her life started to spiral out of control, and she's currently staying at this house by this lake where her husband died, which doesn't make much sense to me, but I think that her mom thought that it was a good idea. Yeah, the house opposite from her, across the lake, is owned by this couple. So the husband, I think, works in tech, and the wife, Catherine, is a former supermodel. And one day, Casey saves Catherine from drowning in the lake, and they start to form this friendship. However, you know from the first chapter that Catherine goes missing, and Casey suspects that the husband might have something to do with it. I think the reason that I struggled with this in the beginning is because it felt very info dumpy. You basically get this big info dump that tells you all about Casey's life and how she came to be at this lake house, and I was struggling to retain all the information that was being thrown at me. Casey's character development feels very cliched at the moment because all we really know about her is that she's an alcoholic. quick and her husband passed away. When I read the synopsis, I did think that it sounded very similar to The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, and I can see the similarities. Obviously it's been a while since I read The Girl on the Train, but it's given me similar vibes that I remember from that book. What I'm really hoping is that this book has some amazing twists, because I have found that with Riley Sager books in the past, is that he does do a really good job of leading you down one path but then veering off in a completely different direction. So I do hope that that's going to be the case with this book. I'm hoping to be surprised, but the way that I'm feeling now, it could go either way. I think either this book is gonna go rapidly downhill or it's gonna get really, really good. And I'm obviously hoping for the second one. So I have about half an hour until my hairdresser gets here, and I am so excited to get my hair cut because I think it's been about 6 months since I last had it cut. Yeah, I think it was just before my birthday when I last had my hair cut. So I'm really excited to get it chopped again. I haven't decided exactly what I'm gonna get done, but I will show you, obviously, once I've decided and once I've had it done. So really excited about that. However, what I'm not really excited about at the moment is The House Across the Lake. So I'm about 60% into this now, and I think I've worked out what one of the twists is going to be. Obviously, I don't know if I'm right, but I had an inkling about something quite early on, and it's got to a point now where I'd be more surprised if I'm wrong than if I'm right. It's never happened to me before with a Riley Sager book. Usually with Riley Sager books, I don't guess the twists. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this book is gonna throw a curveball and go in a completely different direction. But so far, I'm finding this one a little bit disappointing. I think it's gonna be lucky at the moment to get higher than a 3 stars. It's not all bad. Like, there have been a few moments that have felt really tense, and I do think that Riley Sager writes suspense really well. It's just that I'm not really engaging with the plot because I think I've worked out exactly what's going to happen, and I don't like the characters. I'm finding it really difficult being inside the mind of this main character because she's very self-destructive, and it's a bit uncomfortable to read. Like, I don't know whether uncomfortable is the right word, but I'm just not enjoying it being inside her head. I am hoping that I can finish this tonight and then move on to my next book, which hopefully I'll enjoy a lot more. I think I'm going to be picking up The It Girl next because it's been a while since I read a Ruth Ware book, but I do have the highest hopes for that one. So I finished reading The House Across the Lake, and I really wish that I'd been doing a spoiler vlog for this book because there's a lot I could say right now that I'm gonna not talk about because I don't want to go into spoilers, but I didn't guess the ending of this book. There were some things that I guessed, so I don't want to say that I was way off, but I didn't guess the ending. And I mean, the good thing is that the ending was entertaining and it surprised me, but it surprised me because it was bad. It was so bad. It's really frustrating because I feel like this book could have been so good. Once the elements started coming together, I did think that certain things were quite clever, but it didn't make any sense. I would say that if you like realistic thrillers, then this isn't for you. There was one element that I knew was coming because I'd seen it mentioned in another review, and I'm not going to say what it is because I don't think it would be a spoiler, but I think that it's just better if I don't say anything just in case anyone would consider it a spoiler. But I knew that there was going to be a certain type of element introduced into this book, and it it felt like it came out of nowhere. Like, if I hadn't read this review beforehand, I would not have seen this certain thing come in, but it felt so random and nonsensical. It really annoyed me. I was literally sat there thinking, what am I reading? What am I actually reading? This is just so completely over the top. It wasn't good. Like, 2 stars. I mean, I ran it through Quarpile, and surprisingly, this got a higher rating than Final Girls. I think maybe because I did find some aspects somewhat entertaining. It was just, no, not good, not good. And the thing is that would I recommend it? No, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you have read other Riley Sager books and you've been really anticipating this book, then I wouldn't want my review to put anyone off, because I feel like it's a book that needs to be experienced. I mean, it doesn't need to be experienced, but I just don't understand how this book started out feeling like a really generic domestic thriller, and then it descended into chaos. I think that's all I really have to say. I will still probably read anything else that Riley Sager publishes. It's just that my expectations now are literally on the floor. I have now made a start on my next book for this reading vlog, which is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. So I'm about 15% of the way through now, and I'm enjoying it, you know. I'm enjoying it a lot more than House Across the Lake. In this book, we're following our main character, Hannah, who, when she was at university in Oxford, had this best friend called April, who died before they graduated. I think she died in their 2nd semester. Hannah is now married to one of the guys who was in her friendship group at university, and she's pregnant and expecting their first child. At the start of the book, Hannah learns that the guy who was convicted of murdering April has just died in prison, and a journalist gets in touch with her to say that they found new evidence that suggests that maybe this guy wasn't actually responsible and that he was innocent. I didn't realise until I started reading this that the plot is actually quite similar to In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, which I read quite recently. I think I read it a few weeks ago. So yeah, there's 2 timelines, one in the past and one in the present day. So you follow Hannah in the present day, but also in the past, where you see her start in university and how she met April and how they started to form this friendship group. So yeah, like, it's good so far. I do like the setting and how I can picture it quite clearly. I do tend to like books that have that college setting. So yeah, I feel like this is going to be much better than the last book that I read. What was it called? The House Across the Lake. See, I've already blocked it from my mind. So I am now about 60% of the way through The It Girl, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't know yet whether it's going to be 5 stars, but I like Ruth Ware's writing. I've only read 2 of her books so far, but there's just something about her writing that I really like, and I really like the way that she writes characters. So the characters in this book are really interesting and they feel well developed. They're not likeable. I mean, some of them I suppose are likeable, but they're very complex. And so even though I wouldn't say that I love the characters, I'm finding it interesting following them, and I'm definitely intrigued about what happened. So there's this great tension throughout the book where you know what happened, you know that this girl died, but you don't know how it happened, and you obviously don't know who was responsible, although we have in the past chapters met the guy who was convicted for this murder, and he is really creepy, like really creepy. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it because the plot isn't anything special, I would say. It's a pretty standard dark academia plot, but it's well written, and so I think that's why I'm enjoying it. There hasn't really been that much action yet, but I don't think it's that kind of thriller. I think it is more about the atmosphere and the suspense, and I'm enjoying that, so very excited to carry on reading. I don't really know how this book is going to end. I don't have any theories outside outside of the obvious theories. So I'm really hoping that this book is going to surprise me. I haven't seen many reviews for this yet because I don't think it comes out until July. I'll probably let you know once I've finished it. I don't know if I'm going to do another update before then, unless something really shocking happens. So I actually ended up finishing The It Girl last night, and I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I was tempted to give it 5 stars, but I had a few issues with the pacing. So I think that this could have been about 50 pages shorter and it would have dragged less towards the end, but otherwise I really liked the ending. It was very clever, and I do like a clever mystery. The further you get into the book, the more you start to realise the main character's best friend who died, so April was her name, she had a lot of enemies. And so there are plenty of suspects, and it's just, yeah, a really clever mystery, and I love books like that. So, like I said, 4 stars, would definitely recommend this one. I have now made a start on the final book that I'm reading for this vlog, and that is Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. I'm only about, I think, 12% of the way into this, but I'm liking it so far. I didn't realise that it was over 500 pages, so I'm really hoping that this isn't going to take me ages to read, because I would like to finish it before the end of the weekend. But this is following a woman called Adele, who used to be a TV star in Ireland, but then something happened and she ended up moving to LA, where she's really struggling to get work. But then I know from the back of the book, from what I remember, she ends up being cast as the lead in this horror movie, and then spooky stuff starts to happen. I think the lines start to be blurred between what's the movie and what's reality, but I really like the way that this book is written, because you have these chapters that are following Adele, but then you also have chapters that are basically the script from the movie. So it's kind of like reading a play, but I like it so far. I'm obviously not that far into it, but I'm definitely intrigued to carry on reading, and I'm hoping that this is going to get really, really spooky. So I am currently almost halfway through Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard, and I am seriously creeped out. This book is actually scaring me, and the thing is that I think I've worked out what direction this book is going in and what's actually happening, but the atmosphere is so good, and the tension is giving me really bad anxiety. Like, I feel like I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't want to say too much on what's actually happening in the plot, but basically this movie is being filmed in this very remote location in Ireland, and it's so creepy. It's giving me that sinking feeling where I can't put the book down because it's so fast paced and it's so engaging and it's so compelling, but also it's scaring me a little bit, and I'm not used to reading books like this. I mean, I do read a lot of thrillers. I don't even know what I'm saying. This feels more like horror, but not in the sense that there's lots of gore or anything. It's more that the tension in the book feels more like a horror movie, and that's what is being filmed in the book, is a horror movie. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that it feels like a horror movie. I guess if you like books that are to do with the movie industry or that are to do with film production, then I would recommend this one so far. Considering how long it is, I feel like I'm reading it quite quickly. So I actually ended up finishing Runtime last night. I wasn't planning to. Actually, no, I didn't even finish it last night. I finished it this morning because I was going to finish it last night, but then I was getting scared. So I thought, okay, put the book down, or put my Kindle down, and finish it in the morning when it's daylight, which is what I did. But I loved this book. I'm going to give it 5 stars, but I think it's nearer to a 4.5 stars because there were a few moments that felt a little bit over the top, but this was so gripping and so compelling. I really struggled to put it down, and I don't usually read 500-page books in less than 2 days, but there was just something about this that I loved it. I really loved it, and I think I have to now say that Catherine Ryan Howard is one of my favourite thriller authors because I've read 3 of her books now and I haven't given any of them less than 4 stars. So if you're looking for some crime thrillers, then I definitely recommend her books. This is probably my favourite so far. Something that I really liked about this book was how the main character felt smart. So sometimes when I'm reading a thriller book, or even when I'm watching a horror movie, I get really annoyed at the characters because their actions don't make any sense. And yeah, in this book there were a few occasions where I thought, is that really realistic? But generally I did find the main character and the way that she was acting was believable. I felt like everything that she was doing and everything that she was thinking, it did make sense. So yeah, 5 stars or 4.5 stars. I would say that this is my favourite book that I've read for this reading vlog, which I wasn't expecting because of the 3 books that I've read this week, this was kind of the wild card. So I'm really happy that it ended up surprising me, and I would, like I said, definitely recommend it. I will actually leave all of the release dates for all of the books in this vlog in the description because I think that Runtime comes out in August, The It Girl comes out in July, and House Across the Lake comes out in June, but I'll double check the specific release dates and I'll leave them in the description. But otherwise, I'm gonna wrap the reading vlog up here. So thanks for watching. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments which of these books you're most excited for. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and click subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time. Bye.